Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Scoop World Order. I hope you guys are having a great night before Thanksgiving. This is always a really fun time to see a lot of your friends, especially you college age. You guys go home, see your buddies from different colleges. This is always a fun day to go out. In the olden days, this is the best day of the year because this is the week after we beat Michigan 1,000 years ago. And this is an awesome night. So, but I just appreciate you guys. I want to say we're very thankful for you guys as always. A lot to be thankful for this year with Ohio State, with this show, with this audience, with this crew, the Scoop family. I just want to start at the top of the show. Say we're thankful for our military members, our first responders. We've been paying it forward. A ton of you guys have signed up for new memberships on BuckeyeScoop.com. Thank you to all of you that support Pay It Forward. Again, it is an incredible thing that you guys are able to do to give back. And they get to join BuckeyeScoop.com on a Pay It Forward membership that you guys are helping us with. So again, I appreciate you guys so much. If you guys enjoy this content, as always, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. We are exclusive to YouTube now, which is awesome. We've got a partnership that we've been working with, and they've liked the growth of the show, so they were taking a little bit of a investment in us, which has been great. So we are exclusive here now, which is awesome. So again, I appreciate you guys that tune in each and every night. This thing is growing wildly, and it's been absolutely awesome. So again, I appreciate that. If you guys could also help us out and follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, I say that every night. You guys are starting to take heed, and it really helps us out a ton. Pull your phone out right now, click on the podcast app, type in Buckeye Scoop, click subscribe. It's literally that simple. It's completely free, and it's something that it's you get Buckeye Scoop for free in your pocket whenever you need it, and it's absolutely awesome for those of you that have done it. So I appreciate you guys as always. But we got some huge news coming in Nevada. Bring Nevadabuck in here. A lot of recruiting. This is like a moth to the flame kind of game where these five-star kids are like the moths. In the Ohio State Michigan game, where it's the biggest game in the country, is the flame, and these kids they can't get away from it. What is the latest on some of the notable five stars led by David Sanders Jr.?
Well, this has been a crazy recruiting season, and look, I think they get crazier and crazier since NIL hit, and I think that I'm never surprised by anything in recruiting anymore. That's why we've kind of pivoted away from. Obviously, we cover recruiting because people are interested in who the players that are going to be at Ohio State. We've really kind of gone more towards inside information, trying to monitor the portal, other things like that, than straight recruiting, just because recruiting changes so frequently. But here's what we can give you in terms of the latest on some of the targets and some of the people that Ohio State is still in discussions for. Some of this, known, unknown, whatever, but this will get you up to date. On David Sanders, Ohio State's playing it very close to the vest on this one, and they're purposely trying to not have information get out there saying David Sanders is going to Ohio State, because I don't know if they don't want to jinx it. They've got an agreement with the kid to kind of let him break it to Tennessee. Whatever the reason is, they're kind of downplaying this kind of stuff and trying to keep it on the down low. Our information from the Tennessee side is that he's flipping to Ohio State. I would not be surprised to see him here this weekend. I don't know if that's. I know they're trying to make that happen. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But obviously, if that happened, then you can kind of draw your own conclusions about things. I think it's pretty much a done deal already. Anyway, a lot of smart people on the Tennessee side feel the same way about that, and so I think that's kind of where we're at. On that front. Um, I want to mention Quincy Porter. Quincy Porter came out today and said he'll be in town for the game and shut down his recruitment. 5-star wide receiver. Let me tell you, a very, very, very good, like a totally connected source had told me a while back ago. I don't think Quincy Porter's in this class. I think Quincy Porter ends up elsewhere. Lots of reasons for that. Blah blah. And now Quincy Porter shuts down his recruitment. So to say that you can get conflicting information from credible people on this stuff, that's a little inside baseball on that, because you get that information and you're not sure what to make of it. And it turns out to be, I don't know if it was a nothing burger or things changed or whatever, but to say that recruiting is fluid at this point in time is an understatement. And that's why whenever you see Fong bombs or crystal balls or anything, I am telling you, take it with a grain of salt, because people who should know don't know. They just don't know. And you and I talk about this all the time, and we laugh about it because we'll talk to people that are in the know, like closest to the recruitments, and they don't and they don't know. So if they don't know, how do these recruiting guys do? They don't. So they're taking swings. They're guessing on stuff. Quincy Porter would have been one. If you just said, "Hey, Nevada, gun your head, is he in the class?" 2 weeks ago, I would have said, "No, I don't think he is." And here he goes, committed today. So very good news on that front. For me, somewhat of a surprise, even though, a low key surprise, because we didn't make a big deal out of that because we just never know. So that's one. TJ Alford been crystal ball to Miami, and people lined, oh, he's not, he's going to be in town this weekend. Um, is that a big deal? To me, that's a very big deal. The way that Ohio State's featuring their linebackers, attacking, doing the things that they're doing. Um, Obviously, he's committed to Ohio State. Do I think he signs with Ohio State? Well, he's coming this weekend. I say chances are very good that they do. So we'll see on that one. Then you've got kind of the flip side of that, Neem Alford. Neem Alford putting out a lot of positive things on social media, puts on his Instagram page, him and Devin Sanchez, best in America. These two going to go. And but we're hearing from other things that know that maybe it's Auburn, and I don't know if he's going to be here this weekend. Talk to different recruits, and you get different mixed feelings from them. So that's one I'm probably less optimistic on than the other guys, but that could all change if he shows up in Columbus this Saturday. So, long story short, Ohio State's going to finish with a terrific class. You've still got Jakeem Stewart, hanging out there. I don't think LSU's the player anymore. I think it's USC. I think USC is the main competition for him, and I think LSU. There's been a falling out, according to Healthy Technician, between LSU and his representation. So that's a big fish that's hanging out there as well. But that's kind of an update as we sit here right now. But as we always try to be honest with you and try to give you guys perfect candor about this stuff. This stuff changes, but they're both good and bad. The Quincy Porter thing should always be a cautionary tale because that was bad news. And I was bummed because I like Quincy Porter. I like him a lot. I like his potential. We've been on Quincy for a long. I think we did a podcast on him when he was a freshman in high school. So a guy that I really look forward to seeing at Ohio State, and he he's in the class, and I don't think they expected that. So uh, mostly good news, a little bit of bad, but it's going to be an exciting finish. But just don't get freaked out by anything you read because I'm telling you, people don't know. Even people that you think would know don't know. So keep your composure on these things and let's everything play out.
Yeah, and that's honestly the thing about what we do is accuracy really matters. And that's something where we take pride in it because you guys wouldn't believe some of the information we get sometimes. And it's not just from loons on a message board. It's from like real people that are in the know, people that are in the mix, people that know what's going on. And like the lack of accuracy can be stunning from people that are supposed to be like right in the mix of everything. And so it's not like we're just combing through random tips we get in emails or text messages. Like we get called by people and this is what's happening. And then a lot of times I'll call Nevada and I'll say, hey, I heard this. What do you think? And he's like, yeah, we probably shouldn't go with that. And the Quincy Porter one was, I mean, it was exquisitely detailed as to why he wasn't coming to Ohio State. And then all of a sudden, and this from a good source. And then all of a sudden, everything falls on its head. He shuts everything down. So, again, we've learned in the world of NIL, there's never been a time where things can change faster. And honestly, as I really got to know kind of the inner workings of the David Sanders recruiting, I know that the family is a real family. This isn't, there's some dads that are literally like trying to auction their sons at this point. And I just laugh at that. That's not David Sanders. Like he's got real parents that are good people and they want their kid to be successful and put into a good culture. And, and again, when I heard about Georgia getting eliminated before Georgia knew they were eliminated because of the culture, that was when I really thought that Ohio State had a really good chance. Again, I'm not going to knock Tennessee, they're whatever, but like there's no way their culture can touch Ohio State at this point. I mean, from the quality of the kids, to the consistency of the coaching, to the development of the player, to the not to mention the academics, which are important to David Sanders Jr. and his family. Like I was just like, none of it made sense, and we have the money too. It's not like we're turning our pants pockets inside out looking for nickels. Like we've got money stacking on top of money, thanks to you guys and thanks to the foundation, and their corporate partnerships. Like they're raising a lot of money to basically reload every year in perpetuity. So we can match that. So that's not a big deal. For a guy like David Sanders, will happily match that. We're not. Now, here's the thing: we're not going to pay everybody, because again, at some point, it's just like in the NBA and the NFL. You see every year there's teams that on the first day of free agency they spend like drunken sailors and they spend all this money and then they end up regretting it or they get caught in terrible contracts. So it's like not every kid is worth chasing after and matching the deal for. Again, there's an art to this. This isn't just turn off the salary cap mode in the Madden franchise and spend every nickel that you can find. This is okay. If I pay this guy, how does it affect these three guys that are already on the team? Or is this kid worth? Because again, like if I'm on the team, if I'm a senior captain, All American right tackle, and we pay JJ Smith what I know we paid JJ, I'm like, that's great. You guys give me whatever's left over because it's a lot easier to win with JJ. Or we pay Caleb Downs what we paid him. I'm like, I'm good with it. Again, I played in the NFL. I played with Urlacher and Patrick Willis and Justin Smith, guys that were making, $10 million a year in 2008. And so, now those guys would be making probably $30 million a year. So I was good with it. I mean, I see the value of great players and I see how much easier it makes my job as an offensive lineman when you have JJ Smith and Quinn Sean and Trey. And so, I think that we've done a really good job of matching the offers we should and also letting guys walk, because if somebody wants to pay, if you want to pay Mercedes Benz prices for a Fiat, then have at it. I mean, you'll look real cool, but you're going to be upside down in that deal when the kid doesn't pan out or he's not good enough to warrant what you paid him for. Again, like when you pay one kid something, there's no secrets anymore in NIL. These kids, they all know what everyone makes because they all have the same agents. So there's no, well, how do you know what we paid him? Well, the agent knows because there's contracts. So again, it's long story, but it's also a game on Saturday in Nevada, playing Michigan. I haven't been this confident in a long time. I lie. I've been confident the last 3 years that we were going to win. Obviously, we didn't get it done. I felt like we had the better team the last 3 years. Obviously, they cheated, so it is what it is. So that's obviously something that you can't really, you can't really plan on when a team's going to steal your plays. But this is a talent discrepancy or just that I haven't seen in a while. And I think the biggest void being at quarterback, the gap between Will Howard and whoever Michigan's going to have out at quarterback is gigantic. And I think that they're going to be in major trouble on Saturday. How are you feeling as of Wednesday, Nevada, on the Ohio State Michigan game?
No, I feel great. I mean, I feel I'm as calm about this game as I've been in a really long time. I think the Ohio State, all the signs are great for Ohio State, and I've gone back and you look at the games that Ohio State has lost in this series, when they shouldn't have or couldn't have or whatever it was, and there's always a decent explanation when you kind of look at it, in hindsight. With this one, there's just no way that you can come up with a path for Michigan to win this game, especially as you pointed out, right on the nose because the quarterback position, there's such an imbalance. You've got a guy like Will Howard who's playing as well as any quarterback in the country right now, really dialing it in. And you've got this walk on from Loyola High School, um, just not very good. And I think for Michigan, you combine that with a secondary that's really struggled to cover guys. Everybody's been able to pass against them, and Ohio State's been able to pass on everybody. And then let alone you throw in the crowd noise, the energy and the excitement from the crowd. I mean, the day is going to be perfect. It's going to be 30 degrees, which is cold, but it's not it's not polar. It's not the ice bowl too up in Green Bay. The winds are going to be mild, like 12, 13 miles an hour, and it's going to be just a very unpleasant place for Michigan to play. I mean, this is a defense or an offense that I think that's ranked in the 130s against the number one defense in the country. They're really going to struggle to move the ball, and Ohio State's got advantage, literally got advantages at almost every position on the field, plus motivation, plus experience, way better coaching, a way better game plan, and a team that's ready to play. And I think all those things combined too. I think it's going to be a comfortable win for Ohio State. And I just I've said this before, but I just think Michigan's really going to struggle to score. I've seen people talk about them scoring 13 points or 40. I just don't see how they score that many points. I would be surprised if they. I think the over under on team points for them from Vegas is like 9.5, and I think that's about right. I think they've got the. I think Vegas has got the game at like 31-10 is kind of their predicted score, for the totals and for the different things. But I just don't think Michigan's going to score much, if at all. And when you don't score as much as if at all in this game against a prolific offense like Ohio State's, I think it's going to be a long afternoon for them.
Yeah, I think that and plus you just don't have the coaching talent to match what's with Chip Kelly and Jim Knowles and Lynn Ryan Day. And plus, like, you look at the motivation, like, what's the motivation between the two? Michigan's won 3 straight years. Ohio State's been embarrassed for 3 straight years. Ohio State's had to take, even like, because even if someone is cheating, which Michigan obviously was, and they're going to get smashed for it, there is a section of the population, which again, I call them the smooth brains because they're not very smart, that say, well, that doesn't matter. You still have to stop it, or you still have to make the play work, even though they know what the play is. Again, they don't really understand football. Again, like, it's no different than if I say, hey, let's play poker, and you have to tell me all of your cards every single time. You have to turn your hand around and show it to me, and then we'll play poker. Like, is that an advantage? Oh, well, you still got to beat me. You still got to outthink me. Oh, you still got to bluff me, even though I know what your cards are. So again, there's people that are dumb that still don't take the foot off the gas when it comes to being critical of Ohio State and Ryan Day. So again, Ryan, through Stallion stuff and Jim Harbaugh being a snide moron, he's still gotten lashed hard for the last 3 years. And again, like, there's that clip he talks about, his dad dying, and this is like the only thing that compares to his dad dying is these Michigan losses. Like, dude, like, I get it, man. Because at Ohio State, when you lose one, when it's a big one, I mean, it's brutal in this town. Fan base is brutal. Everything's brutal, and especially when it's Michigan, and it's like, you gotta wait a whole year to play those guys again. It's really tough. But I like the matchups. Went back, watched some more tape last night, and I think our defensive line is going to destroy these guys. I really do. I mean, I think that they really showed up versus Indiana. I think that when Jim Knowles is mixing in what he likes to do with pressure stuff, whether it's a 5-man or 6-man pressure, but mostly a lot of the 5-man stuff he's been running, even some of the 4-man simulated stuff has been just outer worldly good. Because like I said, they versus Indiana, I broke that play down where they had three defensive linemen. So when you have 8 guys standing up and 3 defensive linemen, you can bring pressure from basically anywhere, because you've got when you have a bunch of athletic guys standing up, you don't know where it's going to come from. And so, sure as can be, we rushed 4 guys, or we had a 4-man pressure, simulated pressure, and it got home. And we had 2 guys get home. Like, that's the crazy thing, is we only brought 4 versus a 6-man protection, and 2 of them got to the quarterback almost instantly. So again, that's impeccable scheme. When you've got a 6-on-4 battle, like, you should never lose 6-on-4 in football. But they didn't lose; they lost fast. And again, that's even worse. It wasn't like the quarterback held the ball for 9 seconds and they got him down. It was like, no, ball snapped and pressure came, and down goes Frazier. So, but I'm so excited for Ryan Day. I'm excited for these seniors. I do not like senior day. Senior day, like, when I had to go through senior day, of course I lost on senior day, so I'm always going to be a little edgy about that. But it's like, it's a long pregame. You get out on the field earlier to pregame, then you go to the locker room earlier, and then you have to do all the seniors get recognized. They run on the field with their families and stuff, and like, I just I hated it because it's like everyone's like crying and emotional and sad, and it's their last time in the shoe, and and I'm just like, can we just start this game, please, for the love of God? But you got to do it before the game, because there's a chance you could lose the game. But I'm excited for these guys to see them on senior day. I think that it'll be funny to see some of these parents, because they're always out there bawling and crying, and I'm going to make fun of some of them, because I'm sure that they'll be trying to be tough and hard, and they'll be out there bawling when their kid gets to come out on the shoot for the last time. Maybe not the last time. And for the 5 seed, I mean, I don't know. There's a part of me that, like, as much as I want us to be the 1 seed, like, I couldn't imagine the electricity of a home playoff game versus like Boise State. I think that'd be phenomenal to watch. I'd be really so again. I don't know Nevada. Nevada, I'm gonna ask you this. Like, obviously, you want to win the Big Ten, want to beat Oregon, you want to win every game. But like, if you lose to Oregon in the Big Ten championship, your consolation prize is we get a home playoff game in December in the Horseshoe. Which again, I just think that like that would be one of the most electric games of all time because it'd be the first playoff game ever in the shoe, and it'd be cold. And now we're playing Boise, where it's actually colder, so we don't get that. We don't get that dream of playing like the Florida Gators or the Miami Hurricanes in Columbus in December, and it's a blizzard or whatever. But like, I don't know. Again, like that. I've said it, and I don't want to say it, and I don't want to. Obviously, we don't condone losing around here, but like Nevada, you said it is 6 months ago that fifth spot is the meta, man, because you get a cakewalk, and that one seed's got to play Georgia according to the latest playoff thing. What are your thoughts, though? I mean, if we lose the Big Ten championship, which again, we're not going to go down that road, us to beat Oregon, but like the consolation prize, you get a home playoff game in Columbus, which I think would be incredible. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, the way the playoff bracket is now, you'd get Arizona State in a home playoff game in the Horseshoe, and then you'd get Boise State on a neutral site, and while the number one seed gets Georgia. So yeah, it's kind of a broken system right now. The way that they've kind of got this thing set up, we identified that early. Sometimes it's the law of unintended consequences. They do stuff, and they're just not. They haven't thought it all the way through. And five is definitely an overpowered spot. Um, so yeah. I mean, look, Ohio State. All Ohio State has to do this weekend is just win by 1 point. Just win by 1 point against Michigan, and then get on to the Big Ten championship game. When that game's being played, um, I always root for Ohio State to win. But if the unthinkable happened and we lost, I would not be broken up. So, which is just a really weird place to be emotionally. But again, that's just being completely honest with everybody. Obviously, I mean, I will root. I'll go to the game. I'll cheer. I'll be so excited to win. But if you lose, you're like, well, we might have an easier path to the national championship than if we didn't lose. So, um, I don't think that's the way that it should be in the college football playoff, but that's the way it is. And there's no denying it. Like I said, and as you said, we identified this really early on in terms of the kind of the flaw in the system, and that it's a problem. So I think they've got to address it going forward. They've got to reseed or whatever they've got to do after the first round. But right now, the way they've got the seating set up, man, if you end up at number five, but through whatever series of unfortunate events you end up at number five, I think that's the lightning round to the national championship. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But all I'm really thinking about this week is let's just beat Michigan. Let's beat Michigan. Let's send those weasels back to the screaming back to the holes. Let's right the wrong. Let's get these gold pants for these seniors, and let's pay off this great Ohio State team that a lot of these guys came back for just this very moment. And I know the staff's fired up. And one more note on Ryan Day. You talked about Ryan Day and how hard this is. One of the reasons why it's so hard is because his family. Man, when you lose, it's one thing for you to hear about it, but when your entire family hears about it the whole year, that's, I mean, that's tough, man, because everybody cares about their family, everybody cares about their wife and kids, and when your family's getting it because you lost a football game, man, it's that's tough duty. That stuff wears on you, and I know it's weird on Ryan, and I want it for him. I want it for his family. I want them to beat Michigan just to right the wrong from all the cheating. Let's get this series back where it should be with Ohio State in the win column, and I think that starts on Saturday.
Yeah, like again, that's a great point with the family because that's something I've seen firsthand. Yeah, and like Nina Day, RJ Day's got to go to high school, and again, kids are mean. They're really mean. And I dealt with that firsthand with my best friend's kid, Todd Miller, my best friend outside of Nevada, like his son Ryan, who's a baseball player at Ohio State now, he was in the same grade with Landon Fickle. And I remember in 2013, we weren't doing too hot at the Big Ten championship game versus Michigan State. We ended up losing that game. And like, he's standing in the concession line with Landon. And I mean, people are just ripping Luke Fickle, fire Luke Fickle, and way worse, way more colorful language than that. And the kid started like bawling, Because again, that's his dad. He's 12 years old or whatever. So that's real. Like I mean, these kids like it's one thing to be a player. Like the one good thing about being a college football player is you generally don't have a fam. Like I mean, you have your parents and stuff, but it's not like you have your kids going to school, and then the kid goes to elementary school in seventh grade or fifth grade or whatever, middle school, and gets dropped off, and then the kids all parrot what their moron daddies say during the games, and your dad sucks. Because again, like when you're coaching at Ohio State, like your dad doing a good job or a bad job basically determines the mental health of the entire state of Ohio. So I mean, it's a pretty heavy thing, but like I said, I feel bad for because the coaches' wives don't want to go to the grocery store, they don't want to go to wherever. And again, don't cry for me, Argentina. They know what they've signed up for, and it's a lot of money, but that's like one of the vicious aspects about being a part of Ohio State's football family and the brotherhood. And I'm telling you, it's it's sad, but I hope Ryan gets a major get back this week because again, it'll be sweet. I mean, he'll be. Whew, you'll be able to drink a little bit of a couple cold beers, but man, you got to get ready for Oregon the next Saturday, so you don't get to enjoy it like we used to back in the day. But I like I said, and again, you're the guy that thought of the fifth seed. That wasn't me. I mean, you can say we were on that. I wasn't on it. I was on Neptune on that one. So you educated me real quick. And when we've seen these playoff brackets come to fruition, I've been like, damn. Like, I mean, so if we don't win the Big Ten, we get a home playoff game against Arizona State. And you're right. Excuse me. With the updated brackets, we'd go Arizona State, then Boise. I think 2 weeks ago, I saw 2 weeks ago in my head when it was Boise, CBOE. Obviously, BYU is not a part of the conversation anymore. But yeah, it's crazy. So Oregon, their treasure trove for beating us and being the ones who be potentially they'd have to play Georgia in their first game after a bye week. I'm like, that's not fun. Like that's one of the teams. If I could if I could avoid three teams right now, it'd be Georgia, Texas, Oregon. So the longer we can go, where maybe one of those teams plays each other, knocks themselves out, great. Because again, I like to maximize our. And again, I'm not scared of playing those teams, but I'm just saying, if you said, Kirk, what are three teams if you could eliminate them from the playoffs, the best ensure Ohio State wins the national championship? Be those three. And then Alabama. Alabama's just vomited all over their shoes all year, but when they're on, they're pretty good. Like they beat Georgia, and they've got a running again. A quarterback that can run a 4.4 is a guy that I always want to try to avoid, just because I've seen what that can do to a defense, even one as skilled as Jim Knowles. But they're not in the conversation anymore. So it's fantastic. All right. Bunch of super chats stacking up. Nevada. Any thoughts before we dig into these?
No, just I mean, look, Saturday's payback for a lot. I mean, the rent's due, Daddy's home, and I know for Ohio State fans that are feeling nervous about the game, I get you're feeling nervous, but I'm telling you, we're gonna take out the trash on Saturday, and yeah, it's gonna be a glorious day in the shoe, and I hope everybody goes there, do your part, and be loud, because I know we'll be loud for sure.
I think it's going to be incredibly well, because again, that Indiana game was great. Shout out to Ross Bjork, because he put a note on the Nevada box for like on every door there was a note that said, be loud. This is your athletic director. We need the crowd. Like I've never seen that before. So again, good on Ross for trying to get people gassed up a little bit. All right, Larry Daniels, 1. Thank you for the 5. Happy Thanksgiving to Kirk, Nevada, and your families, and the Scoop family in Nevada OH. And also a happy Thanksgiving to you guys. We appreciate you guys. I will be rolling solo tomorrow night, so we will have a show tomorrow night. So I'll probably do a little film breakdown for you guys. I know you guys love that. The Nevada Lambeau Field tour continues, so he'll be in the frozen confines, chilling. So he'll be having. Is that a night game? That's a night game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Dolphins at the Packers tomorrow night at Lambeau Field, and Nevadabuck and clan will be there rooting on the Pack. Go Pack, go!
And you're gonna be out in the elements, right? You're gonna be out there, and is it that bad, or is it decent?
It's not supposed to be bad weather, but in full disclosure, the Nevadabuck thing will be in the club level enclosed. So Nevadabuck is there is an outdoor bar though that you can kind of stand out there on the patio and watch the game when you want the kind of the atmosphere. But I'm probably gonna be huddled inside eating carved beef at the carved beef station and drinking a cocktail in like shorts and in a t-shirt or something like that. So it's always
Nevada,
balmy in the club section at Lambeau
the
Field.
Nevada soft.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Nevada pudding. Nevada pudding.
Oh, for sure.
So I can't say anything. So I don't see that stuff either. Show of Steel workshop next to the Deuce. Buckeyes win by 45 points on Saturday. Nevada, what would happen if the Buckeyes beat them by 45 points? I mean, could you imagine the stadium if we won by 45 points? Oh my God. Woo.
I could totally see that. I could totally see that. I'm predicting a bad day for the KeyBank Suite next to us with all those people in there. They're going to take a lot of harassment from the Nevadabuck Suite, but no, it's I look. It doesn't matter. All of our bluster doesn't matter. The team's not taking anything for granted with Michigan, and as much as we want it, believe me, these guys want it 100 times worse. Ryan Day wants it 100 times worse. Chip Kelly, they all want it so badly, and and if they get a chance to lay 45 on them, I promise you they will not pull the foot off the gas, and they'll run it up as high as they possibly can.
Well, I think that when you like in my history of the game, um, something that I know for a fact is that the game where we had the biggest talent discrepancy was '05 when we had that incredible team with AJ Hawk and obviously Antonio and all those guys, Nick Mangold, and that was the one that we almost lost. Like if you had said Kirk, like if you look at all those matchups, which one's gonna have the largest margin of victory? Oh, that one by far. Michigan was down. Michigan lost like 3 or 4 games that year. But they were still good because they beat Penn State. Penn State was like a top 5 team. They beat Penn State after we'd lost to Penn State. Penn State was undefeated, lost in the big house. Manningham caught a touchdown. I think at the last second or in overtime, one or the other. But yeah, it was it was crazy. So I mean, I never take this game for granted because again, in '04 we were huge underdogs and we smashed them. '06 was pretty even. I mean, I don't know what the betting line was on the '06 game, but it was probably, if it wasn't even money, it might have been a point or two either way. I'm sure we were probably favored because we were the 1 seed, but Michigan was 2 in the country, so there was no sneaking up on them. Then '07 was, I know we were rated higher, but I mean, we were probably, it probably had to be pretty even, maybe 3 or 4 points. I don't know. We ended up winning, 14-3, and again, that was the, you want to talk about the ultimate under game. Like when there's weather like that, it's the ultimate under game because all we can do is run the ball. So it was I guess you never know. But like I said, in this game, you just win by 1 point and you don't care about anything else. You don't care about rushing yards or turnover margin or third down conversions or stats or catches or anything. You just win by 1 point. That's all you want to do in these ones. Doug Tipton, thank you for the 5. And the only one that feels like Ohio State will be in a close game in the fourth quarter. I'll feel like Day will play tight. Um, I mean, I'm sure you're not the only one because again, we have people that get nervous when we get ready to play Akron. But I mean, I don't see how this is a game in the fourth quarter. Now, again, barring injury, barring some crazy unforeseen thing, that's it. Otherwise, this is gonna be a lock for us. And I love the direction of the team. I love the direction of Will Howard. I love the direction of this offense versus their defense. But again, it's football. Anything can happen. But I also feel very confident in everything Ohio State's done this year. And this is a resilient football team, like ultra resilient. So I'm excited to see what these guys can do. Nevada, your thoughts. Doug Tipton asks, "He feels like it'll be a tight game in the fourth quarter, or excuse me, it'll be a close game in the fourth quarter, and he feels like Ryan Day will play tight." This is kind of like your vaunted good Ryan versus bad Ryan takes. I think we're gonna see good Ryan. We've seen a lot more good Ryan this year than bad Ryan. What are your thoughts?
I mean, we haven't seen much bad Ryan. I mean, Ryan's been pretty. I mean, you have to remember this is a team that has played 3 top 5 matchups in the regular season already, 2 of them on the road. So we've been in hostile environments. We've played some terrific. I mean, 3 top 5 games is rare. I don't know that's ever happened for Ohio State before. It's only probably happened a handful of times in college football history before in the regular season. You've got one more against Oregon with this Big Ten championship game looming. So 4 top 5 matchups in the regular. It's just crazy how much adversity this team's had to face, and quality opponents and big time situations, and they've pulled through. So this is a team that's playing really good football against a Michigan team that's just not very good. They're just not very good. So what you're scared of just shadows. You're scared of kind of the uncertainty of what's happening. I understand that. I get that, but I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned about this is the worst Michigan offense that I've seen in a very very long time. They've got nothing. I mean, their best receiver by Colson Loveland's got more receptions than every other player on the team, I think, combined or something like that. So literally, their best player on offense is their tight end, and it's just hard for a team that's their best player, their only receiving third is a tight end, to beat you in a game like this. When you roll out the other side and you're like, well, we've got JJ and Emeka and Carnell. Those are all three first round NFL draft picks, guaranteed first round NFL draft picks out there. And Will Howard's he's only leading the entire college football in completion percentage, second in QBR. I mean, so no, I don't think the game's going to be close. Barring, I'll just speak it out. Barring an injury to Will Howard in the first quarter or something like that, I just don't see any way that this game is close because Michigan's really going to struggle to score. And if you can't score, it's going to be hard to keep this game close.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm at because I just when you have a quarterback that is so bad, again, this is like the '08 team, like this '08 Michigan Rich Rod's first year, like they trot out like Nick Sheridan at quarterback, probably the worst quarterback to ever start in the rivalry game, and they're trying to run read option with a guy that runs a 5.40, and I was like, this is not, and that ended up being like 50-0 or 50 to I don't know what the final score was, but it was never close. That was the year after I left. That was my rookie year in the NFL, and I was like, I remember I was talking to Chad Henne. I was with him in Miami with the Dolphins, and I was like, how are you guys feeling? And he's like, they don't feel like they have a chance. So I mean, even like Chad Henne, who's a stone cold Michigan guy, and Jake Long. I was with both those guys in Miami. And again, this is not for nothing. Two great guys. They were great dudes. Got to know them really well. But they when Chad Henne talks to the quarterbacks and the guys that are still on the team, and they're just like, yeah, this is going to be a massacre. Because Rich Rod's first year, when he didn't have, and none of Rich Rod's teams were good, but when he didn't have a quarterback initially, it was really bad, really bad. So it was, like it was a quick little turn for Rich Rod from '08 to 10. I mean, he had a 3-year run that ran into the plane crash into the side of the mountain. And it was it's not good. And again, that's kind of the vibes I get this year, where a couple good D tackles and a good tight end. But if you're building your team out and you say, hey, Kirk, what are the positions where you need stars at to be good? I'm saying quarterback, edge rusher, your pressure players, and I need one elite skill guy. And like Ohio State's got like 4 elite skill guys with Quinshawn Trey, obviously Emeka JJ. Will Howard is good is I think he's the best quarterback in the country in college football this year. God bless Shador. Again, the difference between Shador and Will Howard. I mean, Shador a little bit more top level talent. Obviously, he's more athletic. He's faster. Obviously, being Deion's kid, but like Dion promotes the crap out of Shador and Travis Hunter. Like that's the difference. So he's up for the Walter Camp. He's up for the all these awards. And I'm like, he literally just lost to Kansas last Saturday. He's a finalist for the Walter Camp and the Davy O'Brien and every other award. And I'm like, they're not good. They don't have to deal with the pressure of being at Ohio State. So whatever. But I'm taking Will Howard over any of those guys, including Shador. So you call me a hater, but the way Will runs this offense and the way he leads this team, there's nobody better than that guy. And I think that he's on a mission this year. He is as polished can be in front of the media. And again, I think these NFL teams, again, I talked to NFL people again this week, mid-round pick. And again, he's the guy that he'll be in the NFL for 10 years easy. Will Howard. So again, I know people don't think he can play, but there's NFL people that think he play. Again, there's quarterbacks that I mean, I bet half the quarterbacks on NFL rosters today would get cut if Will Howard was available and they could replace him. So it's just me. And again, the guys I talk to, they do it for a living. But that doesn't mean that they're all smart. Because again, I've watched the New York Giants not resign Saquon Barkley, sign a guard for $60 million who stinks, sign a terrible tackle. So it's like just because they're GMs doesn't mean they're smart. I don't know how John Maurer hasn't fired that guy yet. David Kennedy, thanks for the 25. Appreciate you, my man. Happy Thanksgiving, Kirk, Nevada, and God bless you and your families. God bless you and your families as well, David. I appreciate you being on here, my friend. Thank you for building an exceptional podcast, but even better Scoop community. How do scholarship reductions impact Scum and their desperate $200 million NIL play, Nevada OH?
I
It's so funny. So like when Nevada's doing the show, I can see his finger trying to hit the unmute button on the
well, it's like
screen. So,
because I don't want to have
but
the thing muting and have me like eating ice cream with
no,
macadamia
no,
nuts
I
while you're
can see
talking
you
or
eat
something.
chocolate chip cookies while you're sitting there on mute, and like I see
Exactly.
like the chocolate smudge on the screen as you're hitting the unmute button. So it's like, again, you guys have to realize when people say Nevada's this or the sounds that, or I'm like, well, we're not real polished, but we're funny. I will give us that, and we are always entertaining. I mean, Nevada's got chocolate chip schmear all over his like face as he's answering the thing. And this was like, I don't want to be on video so I can eat during the podcast. And then there's me, I just drink water so I can say hi to
my, my kid asked me
you.
if I had blood on my chin, and it was chocolate sauce. It was like, I'm like, ah, no,
Yeah,
that was chocolate sauce.
you're,
Your dad, it
you're,
looks like you
you're
have blood. I'm like, nah, chocolate.
nah. That's what they use for blood in the original Psycho in the shower scene. Did you know that?
I know
Trivia
that's
question.
true.
Hershey syrup.
Yeah.
One of
Yep.
the all-time greatest movies of all time. Psycho. All right. So the scholarship reductions, and again, they're not reductions. It's they're actually expansions because they're going to 120 as a max roster size. So you can scholarship 120 guys now, which is crazy because we used to have 85. The problem is that I think that the NCAA didn't know how to manage the potential, or when you have a huge NIL fund, you potentially could have infinite scholarships. You know, like Lorenzo Sales Jr., I don't know what his status is this year, but last year he was technically a walk-on, but the collectives paid for his tuition and room and board. So he never saw a bill. But he was technically a walk-on. So, I think that the NCAA was ruling that, well, these teams are going to expand to 150 scholarships. Because if you have NIL money and a collective says, hey, we'll pay your room, board, tuitions, it'll be the same thing as a full ride, then there's no difference. Same meals, same everything. So I think that, again, we've come a long way from when I played, if the walk-ons wanted to eat training table with us, they had to pay for it, which was crazy because our training table wasn't good. Like our food was terrible when I played at Ohio State, and it was levy. Then Urban showed up and got all these long-term contracts. Urban Meyer's the best ever because he literally showed up and said, "Yeah, I don't care, fire them. The food's terrible. The players hate it. We're never going to get any recruits." So Urban was the best because he'd not give a literal f about anything, and he didn't care about long-term commitments and contracts and feelings. And he got a lot of stuff changed like lickety split because he was Godzilla when he showed up in the building. And he's like, we're gonna do it like we do it in the SEC. We're gonna spend money like it's gone out of style, and we did. I mean, our budget skyrocketed under Urban, and that's why he's the guy that put all the stuff into motion for Ryan. But I think that you know the scholarship expansion, and then there, like the thing is now there's a cap on number of players you can have on the team. You only have 120 guys. So in the past, like if I wasn't good enough to play at Ohio State, if I wasn't good enough to earn a scholarship, I could still walk on. Like they almost, as long as you can walk and chew bubble gum, they'll let you walk onto the team. If you're, especially if you're a big guy, like, they always need scout team bodies and linemen, that type of thing. So if you're a above average high school player, as long as you've played some of high school, but we had a kid walk on that never even played football before. Now his mom was on the board of trustees and given $5 million or whatever to the university. So of course that got him a spot on the team, which I thought was hilarious because he's the worst player in school history. Um, he didn't even play in high school, and I was like, why is this kid on the team? And his mom gave a lot of money. I get it, it's fine. Brotherhood forever. But I think that when you've got the 120 limit, you know, I think it hurts when you have an infinite money or whatever $200 million war chest because you can't go out and just sign everybody. Before you could have 150 guys on the team if you wanted, but now you're capped at 120 and they're all full scholarship. So um, I think they did that as a way to help the smaller schools compete. But the problem is like if you're Akron and some of the schools, like they can't afford to add another 40 scholarships because again, that's all room, board, tuition, Like in football, in football it's all or nothing. You either get paid everything or you don't get paid anything. Or like in baseball and wrestling, there's partial scholarships where you get room and board, or you get books, or you get. It's like they'll have in baseball they'll have like 20 full scholarships. They have to cut up between like 30 guys or 35 guys, and if you're the best player on the team, you probably get a full scholarship. But if you're a young freshman, you're probably getting your books paid for, or your room and board paid for, but not everything. Football, you get everything paid for. Super easy, but I think that they did it. They tried to make it into a good thing where they're trying to limit these superpowers from having these rosters swell up to 150 guys or 100 whatever. But the thing it sucks is it got rid of walk-ons. Like walk-ons, like we're going to be cutting guys for the first time ever this offseason. Like we're going to be cutting a lot of these walk-ons that are really nice kids. They're great for academics. Again, when we have these APRs that are like the highest in the country, or we're like we know how to play the game because our walk-ons, they're all like going to be doctors or accountants. So they're all like 3.8 GPA. So it's like the high tide that raises all the boats. You get all these smart walk-ons, and all of a sudden your GPA that's a 2.6 goes up to like a 3.3 because you've got 35 walk-ons on the team that can all, they get 3.9s and they're going to be going to med school afterwards. So that'll be interesting to see how that shakes out, because now you're gonna have 120 guys, and the academic side, it'll matter, but it ain't gonna matter like the football ability side. So Nevada, what are your thoughts? How do scholarship reductions impact Scum and their desperate $200 million NIL play? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, look, it's just going to be. I'll just take a kind of step back. I'm not sure this is really responsive to the question, but the whole idea that Michigan now is going to just start throwing money at NIL, and that somehow they're going to lap the field, or gain some sort of huge competitive advantage. Let me tell you all this is going to do. First of all, eventually there's going to be some sort of a salary cap structure in NIL. I don't know exactly how they're going to do it, what exactly the mechanism is going to be, but somehow there's going to be some sort of guide rails put on, because everybody wants that. It's in everybody's best interest. So that's the long-term solution. The short-term solution is Ohio State's not going to be left behind in the thing. So if Michigan raises 30 million or 40 million or 50 million, you know what? All it's going to mean is some rich guys around the state of Ohio are going to have less money in their pocket, because Ohio State's not going to be left behind. Ohio State's going to be competitive. Ohio State's going to do whatever they have to do to raise the amount of money. And Ohio State people are very competitive. So even if Larry Ellison or whomever is putting money up, Ohio State will be competitive in that. That's the first thing. Second thing is, you can't buy your way to a championship. I've seen this in just about every sport. You try to see it doesn't work for the Yankees every year. It doesn't work. It works occasionally. It worked for the Dodgers this year, but you can't do it. Just throw money at problems when you don't have solid coaching, you don't have solid culture, and you expect to do it with a bunch of high school kids that have never played it down. You're gonna throw a bunch of money at them and hope that you come up with a some sort of a formidable cohesive group. I don't see it. So I'm really nothing that's going on at Michigan in terms of their money is really concerning me, and I think it's a toxic mess that's only going to get messier with the NCAA, and with high school kids that are unproven. Throwing a bunch of money at them isn't going to make them better players, and that's kind of what you're going to have with Michigan right now. And I don't see how it works, and I'm just going to sit back and laugh as I watch them roll these guys out here and try to watch Sharon Moore, who's completely over his skis, try to manage locker rooms where guys are getting paid, 8-figure deals to come play to Michigan. And I just don't see how that's going to work out.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, we've seen this at all levels of sports, and I just don't think it's going to work out well in college football. D Sunny, what's up, brother? Thank you for the 5. We're up 50 in the fourth quarter, Nevada. Who would you like to see get a ceremonial touchdown? Oh God. Could we get Nevada out there? Could you roll in the end
Yeah.
zone? Could you fall into the end
Well,
zone and
no, but for
like,
you're going to be out there for the Tunnel of Pride, and maybe you just hang out there
oh,
during the Tunnel of Pride.
I'm not going to the Tunnel of Pride.
Oh,
No,
yes, you
I'm
are.
not wearing gold pants around my neck. I'm not wearing my rings. It's not my thing.
Oh,
I don't wear
oh, yeah.
I don't wait. I mean, I have there are former Ohio State players that wear their own jerseys to the games. and I just can't. I'm just like, guys, come on. Like you're wearing your own jersey to the game. Like, come on. Like, what are we doing? Like guys that wear all their gold pants on a necklace or something. I was like, I don't have any of my gold pants. Like my mom has 2 pairs, my sister has 2 pairs, my wife has 2 pairs. I don't wear my little gold pants around next so that I can validate myself. It wants to validate me. It wants to validate me. They go look at my tree. It's right outside the stadium. So
Archery.
Archery. The Buckeye Scoop official presented by Twin Peaks tree. So it's like we have little sponsorship signs outside that look like a Vegas casino.
Exactly.
I'm selling branches of my tree.
Brought to you by Oneida Casino in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Like,
that's right. I know, Oneida Indian Casino, Nevadabuck wigwam, walking through the casino with his chocolate chip cookie. He's like, "Ooh, I got some money in my pocket." And I see the Dream Chaser video poker machine is warmed up, ready to go.
I am ready. I'm so ready for our tree lighting ceremony, and
oh god,
that's gonna be so exciting, man. So yeah, no. Ceremonial touchdown for Kirk Barton. Never scored. And I said, you did score in high school, right? You got some.
Yeah.
You scored in high school, but never in Ohio State. Okay, so I think it's time, man. I think we move you from the tunnel of pride to the tunnel of ceremonial TD there at the end, up 50 at the end, and Kirk Barton runs out there, catches a pass, spikes it, and then runs up to the suite for some hot cocoa afterwards.
And I do like something that says Will Howard for Heisman on my shirt or something. So please promote Will Howard, please. So he's not up for any awards, of course. He's having the greatest season in Ohio State history. Quarterbacks going to the national title. It's like he's not up for anything. It'll probably be the second team all Big Ten at this rate.
You're right. Ryan's really defensive about that too. It's funny because they asked him a question and it wasn't really on. The question was, are you surprised? But I know you had high expectations for Will, but has Will exceeded your expectations? That was the question, and his answer was like, "Well, we're just not really focused on that. We're focused on just winning, and it's not about promoting individual guys for award." And I'm like, Ryan, he didn't even ask that question, but he was so ready to answer that question about how it doesn't matter. It's just about the team and it's just about this and that, and it's like. No, dude. He just asked, is he better than you thought he was going to be? Do you think he was going to be 74% completion rate and 182 QBR? I mean, I heard some really smart people that didn't think he'd be anywhere in the 70s, and that his QBR would be like
6 games over 80% too.
I
know over 80%. That's insane.
It's wild. Yeah, no,
if the awards don't matter, then take them out of the hallway. I mean, you walk through the hallway of Woody Hayes event, all it is the individual awards that I guess don't matter. But it's like, just because we suck at promoting guys, like, I mean, Caleb Downs, I mean, thank God he's just so good that they can't ignore him. But I mean, maybe he's like our one guy because they just can't ignore Caleb at this point. He's trying to punt back. So it's like you can't leave him off the Thorpe award and the Bidnerick.
Well, how about Travis Hunter got left off the Thorpe award?
That's hilarious, isn't it?
I mean, you're talking about a guy that's the prohibitive betting favorite to win the Heisman, and they left him off the Thorpe. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean, hey, for me, it's like for all my great memories at Ohio State, for me having our tree out there, that's a thing that we'll always have there, Kirk. You and I will have that together. We'll have our tree, and because you can be named a captain and you can do this, but you can't buy a tree, man. You only one way to get a tree, and that's to have a podcast with somebody who's a former All-American. That's the only way to do it.
Well, I know my favorite moment in the horseshoe is going to be looking at your face after the game when you get handed the tab for $1,300 for hot chocolate and chicken wings because your daughter and your sons both had 2 chicken wings, and they said, "You're on the hook now, baby." Oh yeah.
Don't eat, Daddy. Don't eat it. Don't eat the chicken wing, Daddy.
Barbecue sauce on your fingers, so you are now smudged on your jeans. Like, oh yeah, you're now on the hook.
I'm bringing a box of Crunch and Munch that I'm bringing. I'm going to smuggle it underneath my shirt.
You're going to bring two power bars in your pocket and like a flask of Yoo-Hoo. I'm going to get over on Levy.
Oh God, the food sucks so bad in the suite, man.
It's so bad.
So bad. Oh
Well,
my gosh,
it's the
it's
same
so
company
bad.
that did our training table. Like when I was a player, like and again, don't crack for me, Argentina, Kirk, the big whiny scholarship football player, but like guys, like we would get charged like $37 a day per person for this meal. And if you ate it at any restaurant and paid more than $6, you'd be ready to riot. And I'd just be like, man, I was like, I want to start a catering company. Good God. Talk about bilking people. Jesus. All right, on to the next. Appreciate you, Studley Budley. Thanks for the deuce. Any comments on the 2023 Samaj Morgan video? I believe that's him in the locker room talking hella trash about our guys, talking crazy about Ryan Day and talking crazy about called Marvin. I mean, now he said stuff that I couldn't say on this show would get banned from the North America. It was very vulgar, very nasty. If I'm Ryan Day, I'm playing that every day in what he is. Because I mean, again, once you win, you could talk your trash for a year. And again, all those guys that were on the first thing smoking LA, that's why, you know, the douchebag defensive coordinator was like waving because he knew he was gone. He knew he was going to the Chargers with Harbaugh, and because he knew he didn't have to see Ryan this year when we were loaded for Bear and they were loaded for Skunk. They're loaded for Chipmunk. So there's a big difference. But I'd play it again if I was playing. I'd go blow his knee out. I'd go cut him on the first play. I wouldn't even care what the play was. I'd just go get him. But again, that's just me. I mean, if he wants to talk like that, it's fine. I don't care. But he was talking crazy now. And that's the thing about these kids are so dumb that the second they all get into the locker room, they start live streaming. And our guys do it too. And I'm like, guys, like, I don't know if you want that out there in perpetuity when you guys are talking crazy. Because again, I've been in the locker room after the game. I know the type of crazy stuff we say, the crazy music we listen to, the crazy stuff we do. Like, I don't know if that's really fit for public consumption. And, we had got DeMario did it one day and caught Ryan talking mad trash. And so DeMario got smoked on that. And my boy Ennis did it after the Penn State game. They were talking crazy. And it's funny because once these guys do it, they get silenced like for life. They don't get to do it anymore. But they get that one live stream in and they get thousands of people watching it and replaying it. So I don't know. Live streaming right after the game is never a great policy. Nevada, your thoughts? Any comments on the 2023 Samaj Morgan? And again, he was just calling Ryan Day out and saying very nasty stuff about him and Marvin and McCord and whatever. Anything on that?
Well, first of all, Samaj, that's James backwards. Samaj is James backwards. So that's how they came up with that name. Secondly, the Ohio State.
You playing Scrabble right now? You get it laid down on the board.
No, dude, I know all about this video. I know all about this video. The players know all about this video. Jermaine Matthews Jr. I think he tweeted something like noted or something like that. No, this thing's gotten wide circulation among the team, and people think that stuff doesn't matter. Oh, it matters. It's like kind of like Kirk Barton saying that we sucked and all stuff. No, they had something for him, and for Michigan, they've got something for him. They got something for Samaj, which is James. Did I tell you that was James spelled backwards? Samaj.
I'm gonna text Lorditis that and see if he can name his next kid Samaj
or Scooby. Either one, Scooby.
I like Scooby better
though. I like Scooby too.
It rolls off the tongue.
Scooby.
So any comment on Samaj? Again, like, and this is like Mike Hart ran his mouth like leading up to us playing. So like I couldn't wait for us to play him. Because I was like, dude, we have the number one rush defense in the country. Like we gave up, like in 07, we gave up like 65 yards a game on the ground. So it's like, I hope you've been eating your Wheaties, boy, because you're gonna get smoked with Vernon and Cam Hayward and Dexter Larimore. And then you got James and Larry Grant and Marcus Freeman. I was like, we were disgusting up front, and we smashed those guys. And they weren't getting nothing. Ranjit, sorry, thanks for the 10. Appreciate you, brother. Hope you're doing great. Have you guys ever heard of a tournament system where teams are reseeded after each round? I like that idea. This could be important to say a team star player gets injured, etc. See, I like that because again, if a star player gets hurt or a 12 upsets if like the lowest seed or whatever upsets the 12 upsets the 5, like I think that the 1 seed, I think Oregon should get to play the 12. If just go Ohio State, match Ohio State if they win the Big Ten championship, which I think they will, and they're the 1 seed, and then whoever's the 12 upsets the 5. I think that should get switched. I think that the 1 seed should, by definition, if you have the highest seed in the tournament, the most beneficial seed in the tournament, you should get to play the worst team that's left. I think that should be the benefit to it, as opposed to now where it's like, well, great, we're the 1 seed and we get to play Georgia, who's probably one of the 3 or 4 best teams when they want to play in the country. Certainly one of the most talented teams. What is your thought on reseeding Nevada?
Well, that's what the NFL does. The NFL reseeds. So you play like it's highest versus lowest based on that. They don't just like have a safe thing, and if you upset the number 2, that you just walk it all the way through. So they reseed. So no, I think it just makes sense. It would avoid some of the problems with the way they've got it. But the real fundamental problem is the fact that they give the 4 top conference champions the buys in the first round, and I think that until they get past that, they're always going to have this situation where the 5 spot is overweighted is good, and that's the way it is this year.
Yeah, I think that it should just be the 4 best teams and then go from there. But I think that you should make being the number 1 seed in the tournament like overpowered, like the way that the 5 seed is right now, and I think that should be something that they should consider going forward, because again, it's you want that to be like, you want the Big Ten championship to be like, if we win this, then we get to play we have the easiest draw all the way till we get to the Final 4 or whatever, as opposed to where we're sitting here and we're just like, well, God, if we lose, then we get to play Arizona State in the horseshoe, and then we play Boise as opposed to playing Georgia. So again, like I just, that doesn't make sense to me. I think it should be you want it to be the maximum to play for at the end of the season, and I think that the reseeding would make a ton of sense. I appreciate that's a great question. Chip Scucci, thanks for the deuce. Is Michigan's O-line better than Indiana's? That is a great question. I don't think so. I mean, Indiana up until this past week, but I think that they're similar. I don't think either of them are great. Again, there are a lot of lower ranked guys. I mean, I think on paper, Michigan's probably more talented, but they haven't really produced. But, I think the thing about Michigan is that they've been able to hang in there and beat some teams despite being completely one dimensional. So, it's hard to play offensive line when you can't throw the ball, and they really can't throw the ball. So, because you're just going to get teed off on in the run game, and I'm just going to say that you suck because they can play 10 in the boxes. You have nothing that can threaten them over the top. So I would say Michigan's O-line is probably slightly better than Indiana's. Indiana just, they spit the bit versus last week, but again, they haven't seen us yet, so we're going to see. But I mean, in that game where those 2 played against each other, it wasn't pretty on either side on the O-line. So I feel like we have a huge edge on the D-line. Nevada, your thoughts between the 2 O-lines, Michigan or Indiana? Are they close, not close? What are your thoughts?
I think Indiana's. Well, I mean, certainly statistically, Indiana's is better. I mean, you got to remember coming into the game against Ohio State, there were serious people picking Indiana to beat Ohio State, and a lot of it was based upon the fact that Indiana had the most efficient offense in the country. They loved their continuity in their offensive line, how experienced they were, how many starts they had between them. So that group's been. I think they get discounted now because we undressed them last week. But no, I've got Indiana's offensive line being slightly better than Michigan. Michigan's offensive line has been terrible this year, and it's especially terrible on the road when they have trouble communicating. And there is no more hostile environment in the world that they're going to face. It's not like they're playing at Illinois. We're not. This isn't a game against at Indiana. This is in Columbus. And I think it's going to be very unpleasant for them, and I think they're going to really struggle to move the ball.
Yeah, and again, I'm not discounting, because if it was a total offense, like obviously Indiana's much more proficient than Michigan is, but I think about Michigan, like Michigan literally can't throw the ball, so it's like it's hard to evaluate their offensive line when they're still one dimensional. But again, they haven't played us, so after the game we'll have a pretty clear indicator on it that yeah. But I know somebody told me that Tony Alford said that Michigan had 7 offensive linemen that were better than anybody we had on Ohio State. I heard that preseason, and I was like, thank God he is gone, because he's the worst evaluator of talent. He's one of the most laziest coaches in Ohio State history, and he's now at Michigan, of course. But that was the comment from Tony Alford, and I was just like, and I got that from an impeccable source, and I was like, yeah, that's crazy, because we have Josh Simmons and Donnie Jackson. I mean, I don't know who on Michigan's O line would even play for us at this point, even with all of our guys down. But it's just me. Sean Rollins, thank you for the 20, my friend. I hope you're having a great night. Thank you for being an awesome moderator, and thank you for being an Ultra member as well. Appreciate you, brother, as always. I hope you and the family are doing good, and I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Buckeye Steve, thanks for the deuce. Get Devin a touchdown. Devin Brown? Is there another Devin, Nevada? Is it only Devin Brown? Is there another Devin that I'm not thinking of?
Nope, Devin Brown. That would be that'd be good. I'd love to see Devin Brown score a touchdown. That means
Well, I
Will
mean,
Howard's on the sideline,
yeah,
chilling and doing his thing, and yeah, I think that would. So Devin Brown scores, and then Kirk Barton scores off the tunnel of pride.
funky Buckeye falls
the,
into
the
the end
tunnel,
zone.
the tunnel of love,
Funky,
the
funky
tunnel of love,
tunnel of mid.
the tunnel of.
Yeah, I don't know. Like to me, Devin, I'd like Devin to score, but it's not like he's a senior. If he's a senior, I'm all in on that. But he's a sophomore. He's got eligibility left. So it's like if he scores, awesome. If he was a senior, definitely try to get him in the end zone, try to push him in. Again, that's kind of like one of those ceremonial things. But I mean, he's still young. So, but if he's in the game, that means we've got it in hand, and he's going to be like the human victory cigar at that point, which is great. Jay Miller, thanks for the deuce. Hope you're good, my friend. Happy Thanksgiving to you. MCK Buckeye. I don't know if that's McKinley Buckeye or what that is. That's awesome. Kirk, your new microphone is cutting out. Well, I'll check that because it looks like it's clear. But again, I'll check that after the show. But I appreciate that. Thanks for the super chat for that. Devin, thank you. As always, my man, Ohio 7715. Thank you for being an Ultra member, and thank you for being a mod. Appreciate you, Kirk and Nevada. Buckeyes by a billion. Don't forget the Buckeye Boys Scum Rant this Friday, 6 to midnight. That is a long stream, my dude. Hope to see y'all there. Make sure you have your Depends on or a catheter or something, because that is 6 hours. We did 4 hours before and about killed us. And 6 hours is gonna be fun. But you guys make sure on Friday night on Michigan Game Eve, check out Buckeye Boys. Subscribe to their YouTube channel as well, Buckeye Boys with a Z. So BOYZ at the end. Go to buckeyeboys.com as well. It'll take you right to their YouTube page. So make sure you subscribe to it. They are great friends of Buckeye Scoop. So appreciate you and Mello as always being on here. Thank you, my friend. D Sunny. All right, thanks for the 10. Nevada lost his plaque, got charged $1,300 for chicken wings, and had to beg for an extra person to get into his suite. What's the most are you effing kidding me moment you've had with Ohio State? Oh my God, Nevada. That D Sunday rings is the best questions of all time. I'm telling you. Oh, Nevada, you lost your plaque, $1,300 for chicken wings, begged to get an extra person. What's the most? And again, there's so many, man, and you're just sorting through them in your head right now. But what is the most?
I know. Yeah, the worst one, the worst one was the sign. The sign was the worst one because they told me that I didn't have a sign, that I had imagined, that I dreamed it, that I'd never had a sign, and so that I mean that was the most outrageous thing. I still can't get over that. All these years later, I'm like, what? You think I'm lying about a sign? Yeah, well, so I had to dig up the picture of it. So yeah, with Ohio State though, there's just so many. I mean, just so many. They coast on their own. They're right on the back of the football team. The football team's been wildly successful for decades, and as a result, their customer service just stinks. They don't feel like they have to do anything of note. They don't have to do anything, to take care of their customers. They raise prices. They do stuff, and I mean, there's part of me that's just like, man, what the heck? You just feel like every time they've got their hand out. So that I get a lot of enjoyment out of Ohio State football. I love the Ohio State football team. I have a lot of empathy for Ryan Day and the stuff that he goes through. But for Ohio State admin, up until now, up till the Ross Bjork experiment, I mean, Andy Geiger. I've said this before, but Andy Geiger used to come, and when he came to the West Coast, he would call, and I'd have lunch, and it would be Andy and I having lunch. It wasn't a group of 50. It wasn't like I went to a luncheon with Andy Geiger. It was Andy and I, and we'd go to Piero's, and we'd have lunch, and we'd sit with Freddie Glussman and talk about Vegas stuff and hang out and do this stuff. That's the kind of personal treatment you want when you're giving big money to Ohio State. And when Gene Smith came in, it all just left. And I hope it gets back with Ross Bjork. I hope this stuff comes back to a more personal level. But Gene Smith was the worst thing that ever happened to Ohio State athletics, and I think he turned a lot of people off. And he was successful because Ohio State was so freaking successful on the field. And when they went from Jim Tressel, they had Urban Meyer sitting right there, and that was not a Gene Smith joint. That was the fact that Urban Meyer wanted to get back. There were board of trustees members that were willing to make that match, and that's how that whole thing went down. But yeah, I know that's my rant. I got Ohio State. I need to get over it, but they treat you so poorly, and when you're like, man, I'm giving all this money, and they're treating you bad. You're like, why am I doing this? So hopefully, better days ahead under the Ross Bjork administration.
And I hear that over and over again. This is not a Nevadabuck experience. This is like a consistent thing. I'm like, oh my god, it's like, how can you be? It'd be like having like the Four Seasons or like some incredible hotel chain, and it's like, they make you like, wash your own towels. They throw the keys at you when you check in. Like, it's just weird. Because I'm like, it's not that hard to just be good. I mean, I had a guy fly in here who's, a humongous donor, gave him, $5 million, and they didn't even pick him up at the airport. And I'm like, and he just given the check like a month earlier. And I'm like, you guys didn't even show up to pick the guy up at the airport, didn't take him to dinner. Nope. So yeah, the Kirkster had to go pick him up at the airport to make sure that he got to his hotel okay. Because again, but a guy writes you a check for $5 million, Ohio State, you probably should send somebody to pick him up at the airport. I don't know, maybe take him to dinner, say thank you so much. Here's some other stuff that you can potentially give to in the future. We're gonna do a lot of great stuff with the money. And then to boot, he's the biggest Ohio State football fan of all time. And they siphoned the money to build one of the new little tiny arenas, like one of the lacrosse field or whatever. So like they like put his name on like lacrosse field, and he's like, or field hockey. It's one of those little dinky. I'm like, that's what they put your money towards, not the football team, like you asked. Because again, this is the thing about the athletic department. If you guys ever want to give to the football program, you have to specify that in the donation. You have to say this goes to the football program. Otherwise, it goes into the coffers and they can distribute it wherever they want. And again, that money's never going to go to football, because there's enough people that know that if you give to Ohio State, if you don't write football in the byline, then all of a sudden it goes into the coffers. They already get enough football donations. So anything that you give and you think is going to go to football, but you don't specify it to go to football, it's going to go. It'll go to lacrosse or building a boathouse or something like that. You just don't really care about. We want the football team, which is the heart of the entire university, to be great, and then they'll give your money to some other sport. It's fine. I'm not trying to be that guy, but he was flabbergasted that he wrote a check for that much money and none of it went to football. So again, a Gene Smith joint, but it's what it is. SC Buckeye, thank you for the 5. Happy Thanksgiving, Kirk, Nevada, and Scoop family. Thankful for all that you do. Michigan still sucks. Nevada OH. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you, my friend. Again, this is gonna be it's gonna be a big Thursday. I love that there's Black Friday NFL now. They've got the Chiefs, they're gonna bludgeon the Raiders, but like the NFL is really trying to dominate this weekend. Other than obviously the college football Saturday. So the Friday NFL game is gonna be great too. Jay Miller, thank you for the 5. Will Howard equals difference maker. I think Will Howard's the best quarterback in the country. And I don't care about Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. I wouldn't trade any of those guys for Will at this point, especially the way he leads the team, runs the offense. Your thoughts, Nevada?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, nobody I'd rather have, and big sturdy guy, can run the ball, throw. I mean, yeah, we knew his running would make a difference, but did I think he'd lead the country in completion percentage? No. I mean, that was one of the raps on him, is that he wasn't as consistent. And I said, when we talked to people with Will, they're like, man, he was barely been coached. So we talked about how sad we're going to be that he's only been here a year. He's sad he's only been here. If he's been here 2 years, I can't even imagine how good he would be. But I'm going to enjoy the last 5 or 6 games we get with him, and yeah, his career is going to be over here before we know it. But he's absolutely a difference maker, and we'll see that on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree. Adam Coker, thanks for the deuce. Score predictions 42-7. I'm going to go 35-10, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if they can score a touchdown, but I'll go 35-10. Nevada, I don't know if you want to do your score prediction before you put on BuckeyeScoop.com. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll put it on. It's. I'm not going to have them scoring more than 10. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So I'll put my score prediction up on BuckeyeScoop.com on Friday. But yeah, Michigan. I will not be betting Michigan to score less than 10, or predicting them to score less than 10.
Sounds good. All right, let's wrap this thing, Nevada. Any final thoughts?
No, just a big visitor list for this Saturday. Watch that. The old saying, watch what they do, not what they say. Let's see who comes in town. If they're coming in town, I think there's a really good chance for keeping them or getting them into the class. And got some big names, so it's going to be a great setup. And if you're fortunate enough to be going to the game, be loud. And if you're with people, be loud. And if you're with people around you, encourage them to be loud, because we need to make a difference on Saturday. And I'm going to go there and I'm going to do my part.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fantastic. Excited for it. And I'm going to wrap this thing up. As always, if you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell again. We appreciate you guys kicking those each and every night. Huge show because you guys make it one. Happy Thanksgiving. We will be doing a show tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, 7. We've been going about 7:10-ish. You know, it runs a little late. Sometimes I got to snack some dinner before I come down and get on the show. But appreciate you guys being on here each and every night. I wish you and your family a very happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy it. Enjoy all of the fun that comes with Thanksgiving. It's a great holiday, great food, great football. It's gonna be a great day. So again, I appreciate you guys. You guys again want to help us out, do your Black Friday shopping for free. Follow us on Apple Podcasts. You can do it. It takes 5 seconds to do. It's right on your iPhone or your iPad. Click on the podcast app, type in Buckeye Scoop, click subscribe. That's all you have to do. It's a huge help for us. So as always, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. It's time to beat Michigan, and happy Thanksgiving. I'll see you guys tomorrow. You guys have a great night. Go Bucks.